Truth is, everybody's going to hurt you. You just gotta find the ones worth suffering for. Bob Marley. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Resilient Life with Rosie. This is the third segment of Lessons Learned as I approach a new age in less than a week, actually less than 2 days. Don't mind my sniffles. I have a cold, and by God's grace, it'll be gone in 2 days because I need to enjoy my birthday weekend. This one is Lessons Learned in Relationships. If you have not listened to the ones I already done in career and finances, please listen to those as well. And I split them into 2 segments. So please, if you have not subscribed already to the YouTube channel, the link is in the bio. The Resilient Life with Rosie, the second part of each of the lessons learned are there. So with this one, with relationships, I thought I divided the 9 lessons, 3 each, 3 for family, 3 for friends, and 3 for the opposite sex. The opposite sex is not just me speaking from a woman's point of view to men, but for men to listen on how to look at women as well. I will do family and friends today, and then for Tea Time Truth Time, which is only on our YouTube channel, The Resilient Life with Rosie, under Rosie Resilient, I'll do the opposite sex there. First, let's start with family. Any personal challenge that therapy could help with, therapy can provide tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. There's a link in my description. It's betterhelp.com/theresilientlife. If you are struggling, consider online therapy with our sponsor, BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/theresilientlife. Also, it gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. Again, click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/theresilientlife. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this channel. Now back to our episode. As you all know, maybe you don't know, but this year has been the main term boundaries, and many books have been published about boundaries. My favorite, since that's the only one I read, was by Henry Cloud, which I read years ago, and then my church had a small group that dealt with boundaries, and I was amazed with women in their 60s finding out that they should have boundaries. I thought it was something everyone knew, but just didn't have the courage to do. Hearing people in their 60s hearing about boundaries as a new revelation shocked me, because I honestly thought, you're 60, you should know about boundaries. But once again, in life, when you're not exposed to people who have boundaries, you don't believe you should have them yourself, which is lesson number 1 that I have learned, that it is okay to set boundaries with your family. Family includes parents, kids, spouse, siblings, cousin, aunts, uncle, grandparents, anyone you consist as family, relatives, all them people. Set boundaries, people. I myself had to set boundaries with everyone, and the one person I had to set with was my mom, in the sense of her having her goals for me in my life. Granted, they are my goals as well, but she was not seeing that I was happy in my life. And once I let her know, like, hey, Mom, I am happy, I am okay, just pray for me. And that lessened the burden for her to not worry about me, since I am still single. And her main thing is for me to be married but I had to share with her being married does not equal me being happy. I am happy now. And marriage does not add happiness to me, it's just an added bonus. So, number one of lessons learned in relationships, family edition first, is set boundaries. Number two, have that difficult talk with a family member. Free yourself. As I shared, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, I had a freedom conference. An exercise was to write down the people who you needed to forgive. And it was amazing to write it down and then to rip it up and just be over it and let them go mentally and spiritually, because sometimes you cannot have that difficult conversation with the family member. It is just best to just give it to God and let God heal you from it. But if you are able to, lesson number two is have that difficult talk with a family member. It will free you of the hurts that you've been carrying for so long that have been damaging you and other relationships that you have not even probably realized, all stemming from this hurt. And number three of family. Remember that your family members have their own trauma and drama that you are not aware of, and to treat them from a place of compassion. I was listening to a podcast and I just forgot his name, but he's a Christian rapper and he was saying how he learned what to do from his uncle, and his uncle learned it from his family member. And they passing down generational hurts. And he thought that was the thing to do until he was around healthy people and realized, oh, this is not something I'm supposed to be doing. So it's important to know that unfortunately, there's a lot of unhealed people and they are part of our family, and to just extend compassion to them. Lesson number three. I have a question for you. Think about this year with all the interactions you've had with your family member. What is needed to be done for you to heal before the end of this year? Now, second is friends. I have learned so much about friendships that if I knew it in my 20s, Lord have mercy. I would share only three because I believe an episode alone of 20 minutes will be about the lessons I've learned about friendships. And I learned them most at a difficult time in my life. I have shared before that I wrote a book called Disempower the Disappointment, and it's almost coming up to 1 year of its release, which is amazing. And if you have not read the book, I would suggest you buy it on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. It's available on paperback, hard copy, and audio, except on Audible. You can get it on Nook. And I shared about hurts that I experienced from people who I thought were my friends. The thing is, you think with friends during the hard times, they'll be there for you, but that's when they scatter and show you who they truly are. And maybe they were that the whole time, but you didn't realize it until you go through a hurt. So, lesson number four, be selective with who and how much you share with your friends. I learned this beautiful thing from my goddaughter. She was in high school, and I say to her, "Oh, how are your friends doing?" And she says, "That's not my friend, Nanan. That's my associate." I was like, "Bet, young girl, I see you." And I had to come to a place where I had to reorganize people and put them in their proper categories. And I don't know about you, but I believe a lot of people should be doing that. Recategorize people. That because you have a 20-year friendship with them does not mean the quality has been 20 years. The quality might be a day, because a 20-year friendship, which I do have, is when you ride it out with somebody, good, bad, and ugly, and they're there for you. You cry with them in their hardest times. I jumped on a flight for my girl's hardest time, no question asked. because that's what you do for a 20-year friendship. Some 20-year friendships is just that 20 years with nothing to show for it. So just choose wisely who you say is a friend, because it's not about the year attached to it. It's the depth, it's the transparency, it's the love and grace that you have with that person. Be selective with who you choose as a friend. Number 5, the person you choose is a reflection of you, the good and the bad. I have friends, or had friends, that were a reflection of the good parts of me, and they were reflections of the bad parts of me. And once I healed, well, God healed the bad parts of me, I realized that these people were not needed in my life anymore. And not in a judgmental way, but it was more of, okay, I don't see a purpose in this relationship. I don't see any benefits to this conversation. The conversation is not a benefit to me, and let's part ways. So number 5, notice the friendship that you choose, if it's a reflection of the good parts of you or the bad parts of you. And number 6, like how you choose a boyfriend or a girlfriend, allow the person 90 days to show who they are. As I mentioned earlier, not everyone that you hang out with and you meet in the first month is considered a friend. Don't group everybody in this one category, because that's an unmet expectation you're placing on them, which will in the end hurt you. So lesson number 6, give people at least a 90-day trial prior to saying, hey, this is my friend. Put everybody in acquaintance or associates until they prove themselves worthy of being called a friend. Missed any of our episodes? Remember to check them out today. They are worth binging. And here's a question to ask you about friendships. Look at your friendships, old and new, and ask yourself, what was the reason you became friends with them? As I mentioned in lesson number 5, sometimes we choose people out of reflection of the good parts of us, and sometimes the bad. If most of your friends are a reflection of the bad parts of you, then check yourself. This Saturday, I will share the remaining 3 lessons about the opposite sex only on the YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe. We are 4 subscribers away from hitting 100. Please help us to achieve that goal. Remember to subscribe, like, and share and comment. I would love to hear what you feel about the lessons learned, and for you to share your own lessons learned about your relationships with family and friends. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Resilient Life with Rosie. Hope you return and bring a friend next week for more. Stay resilient.